Good to see you this Wednesday afternoon. What a busy day we have had across the Triad with this cold front that has now made its way through our area, currently pushing through portions of central North Carolina. We're going to be seeing drier air kind of push in right behind it. Still could see a couple of redeveloping storms, mainly between around 4 o'clock this afternoon through around 7 o'clock, but I'm not expecting that tornado risk to continue, at least for us. That's going to continue to be ahead of that main line that's going to be pushing toward eastern portions of North Carolina. You could see lots of storms even in portions of Charleston along, South Carolina's coastline and also to the north. Very, very long system here, very large system and intense system at that. Wanted to zoom in a little bit on some of these warnings across the area and portions of Raleigh, I would say. We're going to zoom in and you can kind of see as I do so that there is a tornado possible tag still with some of these warnings across the area. Wind speed still sustained at around 60 miles per hour. Here for us in Burlington, while the storms are gone, we did see a wind gust up to around 60 miles per hour, all having to do with these line of storms continuing to push through the area. So when you see that tornado possible tag, it is showing that there could be a little bit of rotation within the storm, as we've been seeing all throughout the morning. So I wanted to go in a little bit on this rotation just a bit, just kind of show you what we're working with in portions of central Raleigh. This is kind of a line that we have been watching, and when you can see a little bit more of a mixing between and a little bit more kind of like a little bit of a notch between the green and also the red, that's where we can see a little bit more rotation and they'll start to call tornado warnings. For right now, I'm not seeing anything too evident along this line, but it's good to err on the side of caution, especially with these types of storms making their way across the area. There have been several tornado warnings, not just for the central portions of Raleigh, but also for us just from this morning. We saw one in Forsyth County, and then we saw one in Patrick County and Henry County in Virginia. And since then, it's been all quiet, but there has been some heavy rain and gusty winds since then. That being said, did want to show you to look at the live radar right now. There's still a lot of strong severe storms making their way through central portions of Raleigh. This is what just impacted us just a couple of hours ago. It's continuing to push through central Raleigh right now. You can see severe thunderstorm warnings and all of these yellow polygons across the region, and higher reflectivity, which means locally heavy downpours are going to be in the higher reflectivities you see right here in the yellows and also in the reds across the area. The greens, that's light rain, but not nearly as much for heaviest precip across the region. As for us here in the Triad, you can see for the most part, this storm system is out of our hair. It has continued to push toward the east, but it's still going to be gusty into this afternoon, anywhere between 35 to 45 miles per hour at best, starting to die down later this evening and especially into the overnight hours. But there's still a lot going on with this system, and you can see the amount of lightning, a lot of intense storms, all in association with this line out ahead of a cold front. Now, as that cold front itself actually starts to push toward the area, we're actually going to be possibly seeing some redeveloping storms heading into the afternoon as well as into the evening. Some things I did want to talk about. The severe storm risk, has actually been pushed toward the east just a bit. Again, portions of Raleigh, central North Carolina, and also eastern North Carolina for the severe storm risk as that main line kind of pushes through the area. For us in Greensboro, we are now in the clear across the region. That's not to say we couldn't see an isolated shower or storm along the actual front this afternoon and evening, but for the most part, the threat has died down and is going to continue to die down for North Carolina these next few hours as the system kind of continues to push toward the east. Tornado risk, again, also has shifted toward the area. We had a tornado watch that was issued until 1 o'clock. It actually got dropped a little bit early for us because the risk had plummeted due to the line actually moving through the area, continuing to push through central North Carolina, hence why they have kept this tornado risk intact for portions of central North Carolina and all the way to portions of the coastline as well. But you could see for us right here in the Triad, we have now been cut out of that tornado risk. So into the afternoon with isolated showers and storms, maybe we could see some damaging wind, maybe a little bit of hail, but the risk for tornadoes has dropped immensely since this morning when that main line actually made its way through the area. I wanted to look here at some of the storm reports that we've seen through the last 6 hours here in the Triad. You could see every single one of these little circles with the house right here represents wind damage or hail across the area. So lots of storm reports. Wanted to dive in to see kind of what we have had the last 6 hours. In the city of Randleman, we had a tree down on 2200 block on one of the roads due to the storm actually bringing in lots of heavy rain and wind across the region. Also seeing some other trees down on other different roads across the Triad as well. This one was actually in Pleasant Ridge in Wilkes County, North Carolina. And you can kind of see they're all scattered across the Triad. They're not in one specific area. This line of storms impacted the entire Triad in its entirety. And is continuing to push through Raleigh, so I'm sure we'll probably see more and more storm reports continuing to pop up over here just within the next couple of hours. I also wanted to note that we've seen lots and lots of rain so far today. And when I say locally heavy downpours, we expected between around half an inch up to around an inch or so of rain. Here in Greensboro, we've had 1.2 inches of rain due to locally heavy downpours across the area, and you can kind of see how it's varied across the Triad. We are between around half an inch up to an inch, not even 3/4 of an inch in Asheboro versus 1.2 here in Greensboro, not even half an inch here in Lexington, 0.88 inches in Salisbury, a little over an inch in Mount Airy, a little over an inch also in Danville. So that just goes to show some areas got a little bit more due to higher rain rates, all in association with this line of storms that has now passed through our area. We still do have our weather impact alert day that continues through just the next couple of hours. The wind also is going to continue the next couple of hours, but the severe storm risk has died down and is going to continue to die down for all of North Carolina these next couple of hours. We're still going to be seeing some gusty winds, though, up to around 30-35 miles per hour. Again, just make sure you're being mindful these next few hours. Secure those outdoor loose items if you haven't already, because it's still going to be pretty breezy. So that's what you need to know. So in the next couple of hours, again, could even have a couple of redeveloping storms through around 7 o'clock, but the main line of severe weather has passed us in Greensboro. It's now moving in portions of central Raleigh and continuing to push toward eastern North Carolina. Low tornado threat has now been diminished for the area, but we could still see a couple of isolated storms heading into this afternoon. Gusty winds going to continue heading into this afternoon. A look at the Winston-Salem time lapse of this morning. You can see the storm rolling through the area. Just look at the amount of raindrops right here on the camera. We've been seeing lots and lots of gusty winds across the region as well. It has just been a gross day out with these storms continuing to move across the area. Here's a look at High Point. Just a little bit of clearing, but even at times the visibility was just super low. Look within the last couple of hours, though, from this cold front passing, we've been able to see dry air kind of enter in right behind the front with those clouds clearing out of the area. We're able to see much more sunshine right now, which is going to send those temperatures up a bit. Right now we're already in the lower 60s across the area. 61 in Greensboro and in Burlington, 60 in Asheboro, 63 in High Point. We might make it into the mid 60s for this afternoon. Going to be a nice comfortable day after all of those storms rolled through just this morning. A look at dew points even across the area. They've been sitting in the 50s. Lots of moisture currently in the air, especially for this time of year. A look at the future cast kind of showing you where these storms are continuing to go. So right now they are in portions of central North Carolina. They have exited the Triad. They're going to continue to push toward the east, and along the actual cold front, we could see a couple of redeveloping showers here in the Triad, mainly between around 4 o'clock through around 7 o'clock into this evening. So for right now, though, we're pretty nice and dry, but that's not to say we couldn't see an isolated storm or two for the afternoon. You could see right here, even on this model across the area. I also wanted to show you Greensboro right now with the sunshine currently trying to come out. It's still super windy, though. Winds are sustained out of the southwest around 20 miles per hour. We're currently in the lower 60s. We're going to make it into the middle 60s heading into this afternoon. We've seen some pretty gusty winds across the area, I will say that, all in association with that storm system. And, as we continue into the next couple of days, we're going to be back in the 40s for tomorrow afternoon. It's just going to be a big drop in temperatures from this cold front with that cooler air continuing to kind of push through the area. I did want to show you all the gusty winds that we've seen. Some of the max wind gusts today, we've had around 60 miles per hour actually in Burlington, 45 in Greensboro, 47 in Winston-Salem. Again, not going to be nearly that high into the next few hours, but still could be pretty gusty heading into this evening. A look at some of those current wind gusts across the area before I let you all go. Here we go. between 25 to 35 miles per hour. So still pretty notable for those wind gusts, but not nearly as intense as they were with that line of storms making its way through the area. One last quick look at your 7-day forecast. You'll notice, it's been a windy day today with those storm chances. They're dying down. Could see a couple of isolated showers into this afternoon and evening, maybe even a storm or two. But there are going to be changes on the way. We're cooling back off for Thursday and Friday in the mid to upper 50s. Lots of sunshine, a little bit of a rain chance over the weekend. Remember to set those clocks back 1 hour. And we're also cooling off by Sunday. Lots of sunshine. We're warming up heading into next week.